Yo, what's up guys, it's Jack and welcome back to another video. And speaking of video, these next two gameplays right here are pretty much back-to-back. They're back-to-back gameplays. There's a couple of other really good players in this lobby. And this gameplay and the message I get towards the end kind of tells a story, which in partial kind of goes along with this video, partially at least, in terms of one of the topics that I want to talk about in today's video. But with that being said, let's get right into the topic, and I am not trolling. This channel as of now, or should I say in the very near future actually, which makes more sense after I have a little bit more time and as the change tends to take place, it's not just going to be a Call of Duty channel anymore, and I will not be doing mainly Call of Duty anymore. Call of Duty I'm going to treat pretty much like I would treat just any other game. I would just play it for fun and that's it. I wouldn't dedicate my channel solely to the game. I wouldn't be talking about it as much, if not hardly at all. And I would spend a hell of a lot more time playing different games. And in terms of the way I'm going to handle this channel, in terms of what I'm going to post, as well as some of the other things that I'm going to talk about, really, it just really opens up everything, the world of possibilities. And at the same time, it actually allows me to get closer with you guys, the viewers, pretty much. Because I feel, especially with the direction that Call of Duty's been going now, and not just now, but in the direction that it seems to be heading, and with everything that we've seen in between, it's like, I kind of feel like a dog chasing its own tail, quite frankly, and that's really not healthy. And on top of that, I've committed a lot of gaming sins that I think a lot of you guys would pretty much agree with. Now, what do I mean by gaming sins? Well, let's put it this way. About a year or so after it's released, I bought Doom. The 2016 Doom, right? Which I bought in 2017. And for a while, I barely played it as much as I should have, although I liked it. And I still have yet to play more than 2 hours of the damn campaign, which some people would consider to be a sin. God of War, I bought like, what, a year ago? No, less than a year ago. Or maybe a year ago. I don't know. I guess that's when it came out. Yeah, I think it came out in May of last year, if I'm not mistaken. So I bought it like just a little over a year ago on when it came out, and even though I played a shit ton of it, I still haven't finished it all the way. I mean, there's so many games, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's just so many games that I haven't been playing that I've kind of wanted to play. And as I mentioned in previous videos, I'm not an Xbox fanboy, I'm not a PlayStation fanboy, I'm just a gaming fanboy. I wish I had all the consoles, to be honest, including PC. But mainly if I get a PC, at this point right now, in terms of where the consoles are headed and the kind of games we'll be getting on console compared to PC, and all the different things that seem to be happening with the console versus PC generation and stuff like that, it's like, for the most part, I think I'm going to stick to console gaming. But in terms of a PC, I would like to get a PC strictly for streaming at really good quality, so that way you guys could have good visuals and good sounds and stuff like that. And speaking of sound, let me know how the sounds, guys, because I just got a new microphone, so I'm using it now for the commentary. Why not? I got it for the purpose of the fact that the streams definitely needed it, especially with all the in-betweens happening on streams and with the sound being inconsistent in the visuals. And by the way, I did figure out that the visuals in terms of streaming from my Elgato and from my laptop, which is very old, by the way, the only reason why sometimes it would shit the bed, so to speak, I recently found out that simply happens because my internet connection, although it's a good internet connection, it's inconsistent. And how I found that out was when I resubscribed to Xbox Game Pass just a few days ago, to kind of to get Halo 5 and to also get a whole bunch of other games that I haven't really been playing and just focus on playing those whenever I have time. With these next few months, I'm not really going to have that much time because I'm working 60 hours a week at this point. So and I usually work at least 50, if not more, except for a certain part of the year which I will work less, which gives me more time to do this, and at the same time gives my batteries time to recharge. So anyway, there's that as well. But yeah, anyway, going back on topic, I resubscribed to Game Pass and re-downloaded Halo because I always have the mood to play that game, and at the same time, it really just reminds me a lot of, it really gives me a lot of what Call of Duty doesn't anymore. Whether I play well or not in Call of Duty, I mean, I've gotten to a point that I play pretty well most of the time. You guys have seen me on stream. Sometimes I play like absolute shit, but most of the time I play pretty well. You know, I'm not at the level of, like, let's say a Mark of J or a Korean Savage or anything like that, even though, you know, even though these guys are really, really good and everything like that, and some people will accuse them of cheating. I I don't know what to think about that in terms of some of the things that have been brought to light recently from from 8 Thoughts or whatnot. Obviously, everything we can, a lot of things that he says, we could take with a grain of salt, but there is a lot of truth to his videos as well. So, I mean, there's no doubt that there are people out there using the Cronus Max in order to download hacks for the game, and some of those guys might be content creators. So, I'm not accusing any of them specifically for doing it, but I'm just saying that there are people that do that. So, I wouldn't be surprised whether it was a thing or if it wasn't at this point. But all I know is, one reason why these guys stand above most of the pack is simply because of the fact that, well, they spend a lot of time playing the game. Like, even though I used to spend a shit ton of time playing Call of Duty to get to where I am now in terms of, if I play consistently for a certain period of time, which I haven't been lately due to my time with work and everything like that, you have to consistently play a certain amount of hours in order to keep that level of skill high. And I know this because there have been times where I've spent a shit ton of time playing for every single session, day after day at a time. And then there's been other times to where I don't play as much, and it takes me a while just to be able to get to that point again. And then by the time I get there, it's like, I can't play anymore. I got to put the controller down because I've got all this work that needs to get done. I've got all this going on and more hours that need to be put in at work and all that kind of stuff. So it really takes a lot of consistency, and these guys are able to maintain that consistency, which is also why I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. And again, I don't fully know whether or not some of these players are cheating, but anyway, that's besides the point. It's got nothing to do. It's got nothing to do with this video, but I just thought I'd kind of mention that, which is one of the reasons why this video is as long as it is. And look at the message by this guy. I wish I was, I wish I was a no life so I could be better at this game. And this is my response. Me too. I mean, that's basically the best response you can give, right? I mean, so that's it. There was no message after that from this guy. But it's kind of funny how that happens. It's like, yeah, yeah, I work a shit ton of hours, and I'm still able to get messages like this, which is the ultimate compliment. But at the same time, going back to what I was talking about before I started talking about my work, basically going back to playing games like, let's say, Halo, which I'm not nearly as good at and that I would like to be good at because it's where I originally started with first-person shooter games on console. Going back and getting a kill in that game really feels a lot more satisfying than to get a kill in Call of Duty. Like, at least 5 times is more gratifying. So, and even though I'm not really that good at it in comparison, I know I can get better if I devote the time. So as long as I have the itch, I'll do that. But here's the thing. I want to be diverse with my content. I want to play more different kinds of games, which is, again, another reason why I resubscribe to Game Pass. And at the same time, I can be more diverse with the content that I provide for you guys here. I can still provide Call of Duty gameplays and stuff like that. As a matter of fact, in my external hard drive, I have a shit ton of them, which I haven't used. I'd probably say at least 30 gameplays, which I haven't used, that you guys have never seen. So the thing is, I could always go back to that, or I can always mix it in. So that way, those of you guys that are strictly here for Call of Duty can get that as well. So that way I try to please as most of you as possible. But at the same time, like I said, I'm like a dog chasing its tail at this point with Call of Duty. I don't see Call of Duty going in the right direction anytime soon. So for me to kind of follow that and to represent Call of Duty on my channel, it almost to an extent feels like I'm going against my own morality. So again, I'll do it part-time, just kind of do it just to kind of, get the feel, get that little itch scratched, and then just go back to being a normal gamer and basically being a healthier gamer. Because if you're just focusing too much on one game, it can be unhealthy, especially if you don't necessarily have to. So just to kind of be more diverse and kind of scratch the other gaming itches that I might get, it would be a lot healthier. And on top of that, here's one thing that kind of goes back to when I was like in, I'll tell you, when I was in 9th grade. I used to work so much in school. I actually used to go to school in Texas, okay? And the amount of homework that they used to give was absolutely insane. Back then in 1999, when I was in 9th grade, I was basically working, I was doing homework on Mondays through Thursdays from like 3 p.m. till like 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. at night on a regular basis. That's how much homework they used to give. And I used to, sometimes there would be days where I'd have tests on the very next day in almost all the classes. So all of that takes a shitload of time. And then basically by the time the weekend came around, basically all I did was Blockbuster used to be a thing back then. I'd ask my mom to take me to Blockbuster. I went to Blockbuster. I'd get a game and I'll be like, okay, I'm going to try to beat this game before the weekend's over, before I have to go back to school on Monday. And that's basically what I used to do. I used to get games and I used to try to beat them by the time they'd have to be returned back to Blockbuster by the end of the weekend, and lo and behold. So I could pretty much relive that now by going to play different games. I could basically, on Twitter, post like 5 different games from, like, let's say the Game Pass, right? that I'd want to play, and I'll be like, okay, okay, guys, anybody who follows me on Twitter, I'm going to stream one of these 5 games. I want you guys to pick which one. I'll play any of these 5 games, pick which one, and then I'll play it. And then during this time that I'll have to stream, within a couple days out of the week or something like that, or even more, depending on, what time of the year it is, in order for when work goes crazy, I'll be like, okay, we're going to try to beat this game by the time, these next 2 days are up. Kind of like the way I used to live when I was young back then. Kind of relive those days and play all sorts of different kinds of games. And at the same time, get you guys involved. And if that game is a single player game, guess what? I could be a lot more involved in the stream as opposed to waiting for the game to be over for me to kind of chat with you guys. I can be a little bit more consistent with that. It gives you guys more of a chance to get to know me as a person. And at the same time, like I said, in terms of what I decide to do with YouTube, which by the way, I'll be streaming on Twitch, because it seems every single time I stream on YouTube, I lose subs every single time. So I'm not going to be streaming on YouTube anymore. I'm going to go to Twitch. And by the way, speaking of Twitch, I am literally 1 follower away from 100 followers on Twitch. So if one of you guys, I usually don't ask for anything, but since it's crazy stuck at 99 at this point, if one of you guys would be so kind to follow me on there, that would be a major milestone set for me. So if you could help me out with that, I'd greatly appreciate it. If not, that's okay too, but just kind of throwing that out there in case one of you guys wanted to help. But imagine a wide variety of games streamed on Twitch versus, just Call of Duty all the time, which can become stale. I'm a Call of Duty enthusiast, and I always get excited for Call of Duty, and I always want to play it, but it's just gotten to a point now to where it's getting really unhealthy. And I find myself, and not just myself, but my content also becoming stale because of the fact that I'm getting mad in terms of the way Activision and company is handling their game and all the inconsistencies of the games and stuff like that. And I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that content creator. I don't want to be that kind of person. So it just seems that sometimes every single there's a certain kind of game that just happens to bring out the worst in people. And I even went back and watched some of my streams recently. I'm like, man, I sound like a whiny bitch whenever I stream COD. And I don't want to be that, because that's not the person that I want to be, and that's not the way I want to represent myself. So from every single standpoint, I've got pretty much every single reason to not stay consistent with Call of Duty anymore and just do it part-time, really. So and it's just overall healthier, really. You can't just spend too much time playing one certain kind of game, especially if you don't have to. It's just really unhealthy to do that. So basically at this point, what I'm going to do here in terms of YouTube, what I've decided to do is basically what I've decided to do is throw in a couple of COD commentaries here and there, because I know a lot of you guys are here for that. But at the same time, there could be also another thing done too. Like I could go back to talking about movies and talking about a couple other things that I originally did with the channel and just talk about interesting subjects. And at the same time, most of my time could be devoted to streaming, because in terms of YouTube, again, all the algorithm has to do is take a shit. And no matter what kind of video I post, I will lose subs every single time. It's not just the small guys that basically pay for this. It's the big guys too. But for a smaller channel, I mean, how's the smaller channel going to grow? And it's like I can make a video talking about COD. I can get a good amount of views on it. Like the last one specifically that I made talking about it got 245 views as of right now. And that's great and all. But then all of a sudden when I stream or whatever, I post another video, it's like I lose I lose subs. So it's like all the algorithm has to do is take a shit. Now, granted, I know I haven't been that consistent. And again, part of that reason is because of Call of Duty. I don't want to be that guy who continuously talks about the problems with Call of Duty. Because with Call of Duty, one of the things that attracts attention is negative attention, but so does positive attention. I'd rather be positive. And with Call of Duty and with all the decisions, as I mentioned earlier, that it's been headed towards, and the things that they're doing with the game, and all the shit that Activision does to piss us off as gamers and as people as well at this point, and what they're doing to the game in general, is just not good. It's not good. It's not healthy. And if you're a person that's passionate and has a certain level of morale, it's really not healthy to stick around with Call of Duty at least full time at this point, especially if you're a content creator. There are people out there that don't create content that are quitting Call of Duty because of all the bullshit that's been going on with the game. So, but anyway, yeah. So in terms of here, I'll add in a few COD commentaries here and there. I might do a couple of let's say movie reviews. When I get a camera, I could do some cooking vlogs and stuff like that. All that stuff is definitely in the works, and it is coming, as I've mentioned, but I'm going to devote most of my time to more of my time to streaming over on Twitch, and the YouTube videos things will kind of be kind of a secondary thing or of an equal thing, and I'll just do like 50-50, where I'll dedicate a good amount of my time to streaming on Twitch, and at the same time I can dedicate a few hours of my time to posting videos on here, which isn't hard, and also depends on the videos. If I'm doing a traditional commentary like this one here, very easy to put together, but again, you got to have something to talk about. You have to have something that will engage your audience. I know that there's a small percentage of you guys that are the diehard loyals that will always watch and even leave a like on my videos no matter what kind of video I post. Before you even watch the entirety of the video, you guys you'll hit that like button before you even start to see what's going on. And over here, in terms of the gameplay, you guys are going to see some of the leaderboards as well, so that way you can see that there are actually some other good players in this lobby. But the thing is, there are those of you guys that will always stick around no matter what. And for those of you guys that are disappointed by this commentary, the fact that I'm kind of stepping aside from Call of Duty, so to speak, you know, I'm sorry, but I'm sure you guys can understand that this is the better way to go, not just from a content perspective, but from an overall perspective, guys. So it's the decision that I've made. It was both easy and difficult at the same time, because at the same time I also have to consider you guys. But when it comes down to it, when you look at it from an overall perspective, both as a person and a content creator, it's just a better way to go, to play a diversity of games and post a handful of different kinds of content on this channel, while kind of trying to remain true to what you originally did with the commentaries. But at the same time, you got to get with the times, you got to change with the times, you got to remain versatile, you got to add some spice to the mix, because no matter what kind of Call of Duty enthusiast you are, whether you're hardcore or whether you're casual, doing it too much or becoming too repetitive does get repetitive, and it does get boring, and that's the last thing I want to be. I'd rather add some spice into the mix and keep things to a certain extent at least interesting for everybody on the channel. But anyway, that's all I got for this one, guys. I hope this video didn't disappoint too much, and that's basically what I was talking about on Twitter over the last few days, and I waited a few days in order to get this video up because, again, life outside of here keeps me very busy. So anyway, all in all, feedback is always looked upon in the comment section. So let me know down in the comment section what you think, or if you have any ideas or whatnot. And now that I got a new phone and everything like that, which I didn't have for like 5 years, like for 5 years I had the same phone, or over 4 years I've had the same phone. So now I finally got a new one. So signal's a lot better, the quality's a lot better. So I will be a lot more active on Twitter. So again, follow me on Twitter if you don't already. That'd be greatly appreciated. And if I can get that one more follower up on Twitch, that would, again, greatly be appreciated. And that's it, guys. So that's what you can expect in the very near future, especially after the next couple of months when new games get released and when work starts to slow down a little bit, to where I can have a little bit more me time. And more me time is more you time. So therefore, wham bam, best of both worlds. But anyway, that's all I got for this one, guys. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, let me know. And if you didn't, let me know what I can do to make my videos better. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.